Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kirstyn Clark. The Carleys have the afternoon off. We're ending the week with the sunshine and cool temperatures, and we'll check in with meteorologist John Conway in just a few minutes to tell us what we can expect for the weekend. But first, here are 4 stories you don't want to miss today at 4. A car crash takes out a cemetery wall in Crisfield. How neighbors are putting their heart and soul into repairing it. The ballots are starting to come in across Delaware, how the early voting season is going on its first day in the first state. Also, a pause on a voter purge in Virginia, why hundreds of people may be put back on the rolls ahead of Election Day. Plus, escaping the E. coli scare in America, how restaurants are taking action to keep us safe. All those stories and more today on WBOC News at 4. Well, a church in Crisfield is literally picking up the pieces of its cemetery today. Late on Wednesday night, a truck smashed through the cemetery's retaining wall, sending pieces of rock and debris across the grounds. You can see the damaged grave sites and headstones here, over 200 years old. Pastor Jeff James says he's not sure how long it will take to rebuild, but with some help, the church has been able to get that process going.
Fortunately, we had some volunteers come out, some folks from the church that cleaned up the small debris, and the great neighbor, Ricky Thomas, had an excavator. He came move some of the big block that kind of cleaned that up, and they set the barrels out. Now that the retaining wall, in a sense, is gone.
You can hear more from Pastor James and neighbors tonight on WBOC News at 6. Well, today kicks off the first day of early voting in Delaware. Voters at the Elk Lodge in Dover were eager to get a head start on voting. Many of them say participating in this upcoming election is crucial to determining the future of the country. Polling locations are open from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. through Tuesday, and early voters in Delaware can also cast their ballots between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. next Wednesday through November 3rd. And continuing with the election, the race for the White House goes through the Lone Star State today, with both presidential candidates stopping in Texas. While Texas is not a battleground, each candidate is using the visit as part of different approaches to appeal to voters in the final days of campaigning. Nicole Saganga has more details from the White House. Willie Nelson and Jessica Alba will also be on stage with Harris tonight, as will Democratic Senate candidate Colin Allred, who is in a tight race to unseat Republican Ted Cruz. To Virginia now, where a federal judge is halting a purge of the state voter rolls ahead of the election. Election officials have been ordered to restore the registrations of about 1,600 people. They were removed based on indications they might not be citizens. The judge said the purge violated federal law blocking systematic voter roll removals 90 days before a federal election. And the real work has just begun for election officials.
The first thing that will happen is the state has to restore all of these people to the voter rolls, and so they'll all be eligible to vote in this election. The state also has to tell the counties to send them letters. These people all got letters saying that they were purged from the rolls, so the state has to tell the counties, send those people letters again, tell them they're back on the rolls.
The ruling comes on the heels of a Justice Department victory in a similar case brought against Alabama for a purge program running within the 90-day window. The 2024 campaign trail has been filled with dire predictions and messages from candidates.
The consequences of him ever being president again are brutally serious.
If Kamala gets 4 more years, she will obliterate our economy.
The constant talk of how consequential the election is may take a toll on some. It can be easy to feel stressed, according to experts, but they say the first step needs to be taken at home.
Self-care routines that we all have or should have that include physical activation, engaging in activities that are pleasurable, making sure that discussions that we have with friends or family members are not necessarily around the topics that are currently stressful.
Mental health experts also suggest limiting our exposure to stressful content like doom scrolling on social media. And Americans are feeling better about the economy again this month thanks to lower interest rates. The University of Michigan's latest consumer survey showed attitudes toward the economy improved in October for the 3rd month in a row, reaching its highest level since April. The university says this month's increase was mostly due to improvements in buying conditions for appliances, cars, and furniture. Well, if you plan to dine out this weekend, restaurants say you should not have to worry about E. coli. That's despite an outbreak likely tied to certain McDonald's Quarter Pounders. A number of other chains say they're taking extra steps to safeguard their food. Amy Kiley has more. The FDA says it's not sure about the source of the outbreak. It says investigators are also looking at Quarter Pounder beef patties tied to cases. Well, but it's time to check on the forecast. And John, first, nice to see you on a Friday, but I don't think we could have asked for better weather heading into the weekend.
No, we really couldn't.
All right, John, thank you. Walking pneumonia still to come. A warning from health experts about a spike in cases amongst children. Pet PTO, if you've ever considered using your paid sick leave to care for a furry friend, you're not alone, where it could soon be welcomed. And a historic discovery. The remarkable scene biologists caught on video in Florida. That's when WBOC News at 4 continues.